Hi everyone, it's Nicole and I'm here with the first layout using the January kit. I'm showing you some of the stuff that I may be using. It was a lot of stuff from the Dear Lizzie Serendipity line. So we had the puffy stickers, the enamel dots, a lot of the pattern papers, and then this is a We Are Memory Keeper transparency, which I don't end up using, and I'm just showing you the branding strips there of all the pattern papers that I may be using. And again, a lot of them I'm not going to be using. Now this paper here from Dear Lizzie Serendipity, I don't think I was supposed to get it. It was in the add-on pattern paper, and it is from the Dear Lizzie Serendipity, but we got nothing like it in the main kit. I didn't get a second sheet of the cutter parts, and I'm okay with that. And I actually really love this stripe paper, so I'm going to use it. Very first one, I'm going to use it as a background, and then I'm going to end up using a lot of the 6x6 pattern paper. And the 6x6 pattern paper came in, it was one of the add-ons. It was either the color add-on or the embellishment add-on. It was one of the add-ons anyway. We got the 6x6 paper pads, so I was like, yeah, I'm going to be using those. So this is a picture of Mason, and I'll talk about it a little bit more. And I mounted it on one of the Serendipity papers, and then this is what the cork came in from Ellie's Studio, and it had a really cool white and aqua polka dot. So I'm like, okay, well, I'm using that because it's just so cute. And now I'm going to mount it on this pattern paper, and again, it's from the Dear Lizzie line. And I'm just going to put a small border around it. I'm just trying to put a ton, a ton of layers in behind the photo. And I printed my photo on my Canon selfie, and this is a picture of Mason, and it was taken on December 2nd in 2014. And in November he fell and broke his front tooth, chipped his second one, broke his front one, and it was totally in pieces in his gum. And the first dentist he saw quite a few times said, oh well, we need to leave it in there so that the root dies, and then we'll pull it out. Well, it got so infected, so she ended up seeing a specialist, and she took it out right away, because this was not like the nerve was still live, like it was still, even after 2 weeks it was still, so that kid was in so much pain it wasn't even funny. So she saw the dentist at 9 and said to come back at 11. They were going to pull it out. So anyway, we drove to Fredericton and went to see him. And before I finish my story, this is where I'm going through the 6x6 paper pad. I'm pulling out a bunch of pattern papers that coordinate with the aquas and navy that I decided to make this layout. And there was a bunch, and I love it because the 6x6 paper pad, whatever cutter parts are in the big pattern paper, they're now in the 6x6. So what you can do is then use them as embellishments. And that's what I'm going to do on this layout. I'm going to use those little 6x6 little cutter parts as embellishments on my layout. So on the big 12x12, there was a camera that you could cut out, and then I found it again in the 12 or the 6x6, and I cut it up. So I have the bigger camera, and then I have a small little card of the small camera. So I really love that. So anyway, we drove to Fredericton, and we brought him to Walmart, and the kid hadn't eaten properly in quite a few days. So anyway, we got him some of that baby food that he could squeeze out. And then my husband had hockey that night with because he coaches, so we couldn't stay too long, and I was working the next day and everything, so we had to drive him back. So on the way there, my husband, he was sitting in his car seat, and my husband was talking to him, and you know how Mason loves hockey, so he said, that's okay, buddy. Like, you just look like a hockey player. And then Mason, I mean, he talks, but sometimes you really have to stop, and because he talks two languages. So first of all, you have to figure out what language he's talking. And then, sometimes it doesn't always come out as clear, as it should or as it can, because the kid is trying to learn two languages at once. But so anyway, he was saying something in the back seat, and I was trying to wrap my head. Okay, is it French or English? And so he kept saying, no mean, no mean. And I was like, is he saying don't be mean? And then when he heard me saying, he said, yeah, Pappy, don't be mean, Pappy, don't be mean. And so they must say that at daycare, like, don't be mean, like to other kids or whatever. So anyway, we lost it. We thought that was so funny that he thought that my husband calling him a hockey player was being mean. So my husband's like, buddy, Pappy's not being mean. Pappy's just saying you look like a hockey player, and that's a good thing, buddy. And he said, would you rather I call you tough guy instead? And then Mason laughs from the back seat, and he goes, ha ha ha, tough guy, tough guy. So anyway, so then we started calling him tough guy. But now, this was in December, and now in, the end of January, he loves it if we call him a hockey player. I'm going to be doing a layout here in a little bit, and we bought him some hockey skates, and so I'm going to do a layout about that. But he's just so funny. I've never seen a kid so obsessed about hockey at his age. Like, that's all he talks about. That's all he wants to do from morning till night. He wants to watch, play, and talk about hockey. So anyway, it's just funny. So here I'm taking the Dear Lizzie letters that came in the kit, and I'm going to spell out Pappy. And then I had some of those Webster's tiny letter stickers, and I wrote don't be. And then I was going to use those Dear Lizzie letters again and write mean, but I just wanted a third different font. So I went into my stash and I got the October Afternoon letters in the mason jar color, and I'm just going to write mean. And I took out, like I said, a few 6x6 pattern papers, and the one with all the stars in the background I'm going to use in the full 6x6, and then the other one I just cut it down so it goes about 3/4 of the way, underneath the picture, and I just like the way it kind of sets it off and offsets it, I guess. And this is how I'm going to do my cluster for my pictures. So now I'm going to start playing around with the embellishments, and then I'm going to decide that I'm going to do a little bit of mixed media to the background, because I'm finding that the background is a little bland. So I'm going to play with this for a bit, and I can't remember if I actually glue it together before I take it off, or I take it off and then I do a bit of mixed media. Today is the 30th of January. I just finished, I think today's the 30th. Yes. And I just finished my 4-day rotation. And I actually did 2 days and 2 nights. And for me, I find days harder than night shifts. It's just so busy. And it was, we had a major storm here. We've had a little bit of snow in the last couple of months, but nothing like this. We had 39 centimeters, and it was the entire province that was in a snowstorm. So where I work, it affects me no matter where it was. And we had 39 centimeters. Some areas had 50 centimeters. So that's between 15 and 19 inches of snow. Like, it was insane. And it wasn't so much the amount that we got. It was the wind. We could not see across 2 feet in front of us. Like some people ended up, I won't talk about that now because I want to do a layout about it. I took, tons of pictures, but, well, not tons. I took a few pictures. And, but anyway, so it was an exhausting week. So I got 0 scrapbooking done while I was working. I basically just worked, came home, and doing this hour on the treadmill every day. That I'm sticking to it. I'm doing it, but I can tell you that takes a chunk out of your day when you're at work for basically 14 between the drive there, drive back, and and all that. I'm gone for 14 days, 14 hours, and then I got to do an hour on the treadmill. Doesn't leave much time for anything else, So I'm noticing that it's taking into my time where normally I would maybe get a little bit of scrapbooking in while I work. Now there's no time, and but that's okay. Because the whole purpose of doing exercise is to get more energy. So maybe, eventually I'll just have more energy, so I'll have more time to do stuff. So there was some of these, to get back to the layout, there was some watercolor die cuts that they, cut out for you. And what I did was I took one of my metallic gelatos, added some ink, and I'm going to color it so that it totally matches this layout. And I love it because it's the metallic, I think it's called metallic mint. And it's totally sparkly and awesome. So it's really going to go well on top of those pattern papers. So I did that, and then now I'm going to take out my texture paste, and oh my goodness, I'm at the end of that jar. Like, there's not too much left. And again, I'm taking some of that mint gelato, that metallic mint, and I'm going to turn my paste into, I'm just going to put the gelato into that. So I'm going to turn my paste into a nice teal, and then I'm going to, totally forgot that there was a mask or a stencil that came in this month's kit. And so I just had my Tim Holtz tag, one of my tags with the circles sitting on my desk. So I just grabbed that, and I'm just going to put it a few places on the layout. But before I do that, I added some gesso to my mat, and now I'm just taking a baby wipe, and I'm spreading it out because I don't want you to be able to really say, oh, there's gesso in the background, like really thick. I mean, you can kind of see it a little bit, but not too much, because I wanted to do a few ways to do the texture. I wanted to add with the template and the modeling paste, I wanted to add some with that, but I also wanted to use the template with just gelatos, and then I wanted to use another template and use just modeling paste in its form, and then I wanted to use gelatos with on a piece of packaging with just a little bit of water, and just add some ink splotches that way. So there is quite a bit of texture on that background, but again, I always choose a color or two, and then I go with it. And it seems to be sort of the way the way I roll, I guess. I like to pick a couple of colors and then just go with it, and then find all the embellishments that match, and like I said, I really like that. So before I do the modeling paste, now I took that stencil that's from Tim Holtz. I'm going to find a little tool that is for the gelatos, and it's just a tool to spread your gelato, and it's just like a little foamy thing at the end there. And I'm just going to put it in a few spots on the layout. And then once I'm done that, then I'm going to take, I believe at that point, I'm going to take the modeling paste and I'm going to add it to a few areas. And at first I'm going to put the modeling paste that I had changed the color. So I'm just bringing in some more of that teal, and I'm just randomly putting it on the layout, not being careful, just putting it here and there. And even if the circle is all done, half finished, that just adds to the whole texture thing. And I don't know if I'm going to bring in my heat tool and I'm going to dry it up, but that texture paste really dries up really quickly. Plus, I make sure I don't put it very thin. Like, those templates aren't very thick. So if you take your tool and really scrape it, then it doesn't go onto your pattern paper or your paper very thick, and then it dries really quickly. So I was looking for another template, and I went and got a Crafter's Workshop template, and it's just sort of a distressed little template with just little squares here and there. And this is where I'm going to take the texture paste and just leave it in the color that it's in, and then just put it all over the layout. And now I'm going to dry it up. So it's going to take a few minutes to do that. And just to let you know, at the end of the video, there will be no close-ups, because it was either I did the voiceover and that I can put this video up today on the 30th, or I put it off and then it would only be put up tomorrow. And I think it's already been like 3 or 4 days since I put a video, because I don't think I've put a video since I went back to work. Like I said, Monday I went to see the specialist, and he ended up taking a biopsy, and so I was in pain after that. I went back to work. I went during my lunch hour, and it was super quick, but it was the aftermath of it. I ended up with a stomach ache for the rest of the day. So when I came home, I was physically exhausted from just, being in pain and not able to get up and walk around, and just, when I'm in pain, I need to walk, and we need to stay at our desk, because, especially during the day and nighttime, it's a little not as busy, so we can move around a little bit more. Although last night was a night and I couldn't get up at all, because it was absolutely crazy. Like, it didn't stop all night. But anyway, sorry, I had to stop the recording there. I had a little coughing fit. So that basically is, why there's no pictures at the end there. So because I'm just trying to get this done, and I worked shift last night, and I'm just basically woke up, and we have a hockey game in a couple of hours. So I'm going to get this to process while we're at the hockey game, and then by the time we get home, it's going to be really late, but I should still have time to load it up to YouTube. And this is it. This is the only layout I have done and ready to go. So I gotta start working on layouts again. And so starting off the month, and I want to do 15 layouts a month, and I think this is only number 10. So I'm gonna have to pick it up there, but it's been a little different month. So February will be different. I have confidence. So I'm putting my title right there, Pappy Don't Be Mean. And then now I'm going to go through my little puffy stickers from Dear Lizzie, and there was a little flag which I don't end up using, and then there's a little puffy sticker there that says love this, and we just thought it was hilarious when he said that, so we absolutely loved it. And a little butterfly, I'm going to put that there. And then one of the little cards said picture this, and then one of the die cuts said moment. So picture this moment, because for us, it was, like I said, it was totally hilarious. We just, that that he said that, don't be mean. And so he was so cute. So the top of the layout, again, it's just 6x6 cut aparts that I'm putting together. So there was a little card and there's a little flag that says, I think it says date. I'm not really sure. The other one says picture this, and then, which is the same little card as the one on the bottom. The one on the bottom is from the 12x12 cut apart, and the other one is from the 6x6. So it was just cute that I could put the bigger ones on the bottom, the picture this and the camera, and then the top part I was able to put the camera and the picture this in the smaller. So I really like that. And now I'm going to glue down the word smile that I colored with my gelatos. And of course my ink is clogged up. And then I realized that when I put my paper down, I kind of covered my washi tape that I had put down, and that washi tape came from last month's kit. So I said that I was going to move things forward from last month's kit and try to use it up. So the washi tape was one of them. And so I'm just using a few more little puffy stickers, and I want to use those cork embellishments. One says good times, the other one says remember this, and the other one says love this. And we truly did. And then those Dear Lizzie enamel dots, they were just the perfect color. There was 2 different tones of aqua and teal on that little sheet, so I'm going to spread them out over the layout. And that's pretty much going to wrap up this layout. So this was fun. Now what I'm going to do is, because I want to journal what actually happened. And so either, because I end up putting the date, because remember I said at the beginning of the year that I was going to put the date on each layout. I end up putting it at the bottom of the layout, and I should have put it at the top, because then it would have left me room to journal on the bottom. But so that doesn't leave me, well, actually under the word smile I can just jot down, not the long story, but just the part where, that is, Papi said, called him a hockey player because he was missing one tooth, and Mason said don't be mean, and then he said, do you want me to call you tough guy? And he seemed to like that a whole lot better. So I didn't want to leave the cork in the color that it was in. So the main reason I bought that Hero Arts white dauber was to color my cork. And because it just makes it easier. For a while I was using my Mr. Huey's ink with a paintbrush, but then, you have to take off the cover, and then I was always afraid I was going to tip over the Mr. Huey's ink, and paint is just too much, like it colored it in too much. But with the Hero Arts white dauber, it does it perfectly. And I'm going to glue it down in 3 different spots, and that's it. That's going to wrap up the layout. So this is the first layout for January. Thanks for watching. Bye.